And here we go. We are live at Chase Field. The fans starting to come in. There is nothing like playoff baseball. And the Diamondbacks, for the first time since 2011, find themselves back in the postseason. D-backs in the playoffs for the sixth time in team history, but maybe they'll repeat the magic for the first time since 2001 when they made it all the way to the World Series and beat the Yankees. But first things first, it's the Rockies tonight in this one-game playoff. Let's get you down to the field and check in with 12 Sports' Bruce Cooper. We're hanging out with a guy who brings back such great memories for me from 2001, the one and only Luis Gonzalez, the hero of that win over the Yankees. And, you know, Gonzo, we've talked before. I remember running onto the field and looking up in the stands and seeing my father-in-law and my son there. And I hope that maybe we're on the verge of something special this year. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I do. This is a special bunch of guys. And like you said, I was walking around today and seeing you guys doing all the live remotes out here brings a lot of great memories.
The last time they were in the playoffs, this man, J.J. Putz, while she's got her mouth full, you shared a dorm with Tom Brady at Michigan. Do you keep in touch with him?
I don't see him at all, really, but he was just right down the hall. Great guy. Not surprised with his success at all.
Was he deflating stuff back then?
Come on, don't go there.
If you're a rock fan, if you're a Valley Rock fan, if you're a national rock fan, you know Roger Klein from the Peacemakers, Arizona native, but has gone big time, and he's with us tonight. And I think you're one of the D-backs' good luck charms, man.
Man, I hope so. You know, it's sure fun to be a part of this.
Well, hi, Caribe. Our day started looking at the Capitol in the dark. We got here at about 4:30 this morning, more than anything because we were scared that we wouldn't be able to find a parking space. So we got here at 4:30 this morning, and that was the sight we saw. The Capitol Dome in the dark. The sun came up. Well, not really. It was behind clouds, but it got light out. We covered the inauguration. We covered a little bit of the parade. We walked around, and now here we are back with the Capitol Dome in the dark again. Donald Trump joined a very unique club today. Only 45 men have held the title of President of the United States. And also, he is a very unique guy himself. He's a businessman. He's a non-politician, and it's safe to say that's what got him elected. Let me just walk around here. We're kind of mobile, so we can do this with photographer Delbert Vega. And I just want to show you these monstrous barricades. And this kind of fencing that you see here is in place all around the Capitol. It extends all the way down Pennsylvania Avenue. And so this is, for all intents and purposes, a militarized zone. So they were very prepared for whatever happened today. Vanessa, we have good news today, and 25 seems to be the magic number. First of all, last night we were talking about 1% containment of the Goodwin fire. Now we're talking about 25% containment, which is terrific news. The bad news, 25,000 acres up in this area have burned. We have 900 personnel on the ground, both on the air and boots on the ground, fighting this fire, and they are really starting to get a handle on the thing. We're joined by Governor Doug Ducey, who took a tour of the fire this morning. And all in all, when you talk about 25% containment, Governor, compared to just 1%, that's got to make you pretty proud.
Well, this is good news today. The state's number one priority is to put this fire out to protect the people of Yavapai County.
Tragedy originated from this family enjoying a popular swimming hole when suddenly 6 to 8 miles upstream, it wasn't even raining where they were. It started raining, and it was raining on the Highland Burn area. So all of a sudden, all of this water has nowhere to go, starts rushing downstream, and 14 people were swept away. 4 were rescued. 10 were not rescued. 9 bodies have been recovered. 1 is still missing. David Hornung is with us. And David, you've been around for a long time, you told me, and you can hear the weather moving in. You've never seen anything like this, you told me.
No, I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 13 years, and this is the biggest search and rescue case we've been involved in.
Are we really so bad at driving here in Arizona that we need lighted warnings? Team 12's Kevin Kennedy hitting the road tonight for an unofficial look at the situation. Kev? Members of Congress back on Capitol Hill just 17 days before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. The future of the Affordable Care Act, a lot of people call it Obamacare, is already a hot-button issue. So what do you think? Should we love it or should we lose it? You can weigh in on the topic right now by going to 12news.com/yourvoice. Meanwhile, here's Steve Handelsman with what's been playing out on Capitol Hill today. Shots ring out during an unbelievable morning as several Republican members of Congress were ambushed just miles away from the Capitol as they practiced for a charity baseball game. U.S. Capitol Police were able to kill the suspect who shot and injured 4 people, including the House Majority Whip. There are several other hot headlines tonight from around the state. Up first, Scottsdale Airport back open tonight after a strange sight. Take a look at this. A small passenger jet's landing gear collapsed after a hard landing. The plane falling onto its nose. Scottsdale Airport says there are no injuries. Well, back in August, we never would have believed this before the season started, but the Cardinals are home tonight wondering why they're not getting ready for the playoffs. The guys cleaned out their lockers today in Coop. We're all wondering what's going to happen with David Johnson, who really dodged that bullet yesterday with that knee, and also Fitz. Well, new video tonight you have to see to believe. Take a look as a Wisconsin man leaps onto a police car, belly flopping onto the windshield. 2 officers suffered minor injuries as it shattered, and police say he's done it before. The belly flopper, all caught on camera, landing the guy a spot in the slammer. As hard as it may be to believe, police say he might have been drinking. Might have been. The production company says to suggest that a producer would ever intentionally compromise the success of any artist is defamatory, outrageous, and frankly absurd.
Eeks. It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It did. It made me cringe. But you're right. That does happen every night on this show. But you're just much better. You're a pro at, like, just kind of working through it.
You know, yeah. Talking about
Our producer just said, do you want me to keep talking in your ear so that you can't concentrate on what you're doing?
If you believe that it would, I hate to keep saying it.
I know you think.
Yeah, I think it's intentional to create all this buzz.
Right, because she has a reality show.
Yeah.
And you think that's what they want, that attention.
I don't think it was Dick Clark Productions. I think it was Mariah Carey Productions. We like to take time to read some of the best emails and social media posts from our viewers from the past week. Of course, we love the good, but we also want to acknowledge the bad, the negative. One of the big stories this week was Senator McCain's cancer diagnosis. I posted that I wished the senator, who is a true American hero, a speedy recovery. But Jimmy Nash didn't agree, saying hopefully he finally retires. He's caused so much chaos in the world, he is no hero. My God, Jimmy. Just so you know, it's too bad we're on live TV because I'd have a much different response. But to denigrate a guy who was a prisoner of war, who served in our military and has served honorably in Congress and the Senate, you don't have to like his politics, but my goodness, do this man justice, please. Your comments are hurtful and ungracious. It speaks to this whole subculture of trolls, and frankly, it's pretty disgusting. I'll echo what the president said today. Congress, do your job. Don't go home for recess until you have a plan the president can sign. And as long as we're at it, I agree with Senator Lindsey Graham. The president needs to get involved on this as well. He needs to let Congress know what he will and won't sign. Folks, we find ourselves at the crossroads of being the America we all dream of and the America that continues to deal with the cancer of complacency and paralysis caused for too long by partisan blinders. We're better than this, and it's damn well time we started acting like it. Here's what I posted. It was nothing about the president. It was nothing about gun control. What I said simply was the world has gone mad. And here's a sample of what I got back. Michelle wrote, how about we stop blaming the left, the right, religion, politics, gun control, etc.? It's a combination of all of those. Sooner or later, we have to start being accountable for our actions. My God, Michelle, you are so right. Our country right now is suffering with stage 4 partisan cancer. And the only chemotherapy, it seems to me, is civility. This is not about the president or Bernie Sanders or the media. Michelle's right. It's about us. And it isn't pretty. As always, we love getting your emails and posts. Keep them coming. I don't always like them. I don't always agree with them. But I read them all. And I appreciate the differing viewpoints. OJ could go free. His parole hearing in 2 days, and Fred Goldman goes one-on-one with 12 News. When you're sitting there in the courtroom for weeks and you're looking at him, how do you keep yourself from jumping over that railing?
It's an interesting question.
I sat down with Fred Goldman, whose son, Ron, was murdered along with Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole Brown, back in 1994. We talked about a lot of things, including his new normal after the trial of the century.
O.J. Simpson. There has been no formal police action, but the coroner's report is in. Nicole Simpson and the man found with her had multiple wounds.
What was your life like before that call?
I guess you could say it was reasonably normal. We were a reasonably normal, dysfunctional family. You know, I had raised Ron and Kim since they were roughly 4 and 6. I hoped that at some reasonable point I'd be able to retire, do my thing, and go forward and watch my kids grow up and get married and have kids of their own and enjoy life.
The bodies of Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and Ronald Goldman were discovered early Monday morning.
It should have worked out that way. But on the night of June 13th, 1994, everything changed for Fred Goldman.
I wasn't home when the call came in. Patty had gotten the call. The call went something to the effect of, hello, is this Goldman's? Yes. Do you have a son, Ron? Yes. Patty said, there's somebody from the coroner's office. They're calling about Ron. And I get on the phone and this person said to me, are you aware of the murders that took place? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Why are you calling? Well, your son was the other victim.
Time suddenly stopped. Fred Goldman's only son was gone.
You know, I said, well, do I have to come down and identify? No, we know it's him. We had a, you know. They hung up. And Patty and I stood in the kitchen hugging each other, crying our eyes out.
I recently had a chance to visit with the men aboard the USS Kentucky, America's deadliest weapon. The super sub is longer than the Washington Monument and ready to unleash more firepower than the world has ever seen. As you're about to see, should the unthinkable ever happen, America is ready. In the doomsday scenario of our worst nightmares, America would be forced to respond with what's known as our nuclear triad. Land-based missiles fired from secret silos. B-1 bombers would do their damage from the air. But America's salvation would likely come from somewhere deep under the waves, where silent, deadly killers lurk, from men like Commander James Hurt of the USS Kentucky. And when you talk about the teeth of the triad, 70% of the firepower would come from America's submarines.
We talk about the ability to reliably respond to any aggression, and it makes sense that the leg of the triad that is the hardest to find, because we are undetectable once we go to sea, that's where the majority of the firepower should be.
Inside, she's $2 billion worth of the latest high-tech equipment. Her heart beats to the rhythm of 165 of the best America has to offer, and the best Arizona has to offer. Phoenix's Cody Blackburn is one of Kentucky's missile techs, and should the call ever come, he could be one of the men unleashing the deadliest attack the world has ever known.
I am here to execute the orders of the President of the United States, and I will execute them when called upon.
No hesitation?
No hesitation.
We train for that all the time. We are ready to execute that mission if called upon. I don't think there's anybody on board that really wants to execute that mission. In fact, I know there's nobody on board that wants to execute that mission, but we all understand that that's part of what we signed up for.
This multi-billion-dollar technical marvel is the tip of the spear for America's defense. And if the unthinkable were to happen, the captain, along with a specific chain of command, would have to deliver the president's orders to launch a nuclear weapon. That threat, perhaps more real now than at any time since the Cold War, was one of the reasons why we weren't allowed to shoot a lot of the ship. And everything that we did shoot was scrutinized with at least one security officer constantly looking over photographer Chad Brick's shoulder. It's also why a lot of our questions went unanswered. Are there actually nuclear warheads in these tubes right now?
Well, I appreciate your question, sir, but I can neither confirm nor deny the President's nuclear warheads on this ship.
Get the latest news as it happens, no matter where you are, on 12news.com, our 12 News app, and your favorite social media channels.